Who's going to be in the thought seat this week? Get ready for your weekly dose of fresh inspiration, where we talk to successful entrepreneurs and learn strategies for growing profitable online businesses. This is the Thought Seat Podcast with Ashley Coombe, Ashley Rader, and Scott Jangro. Show notes and this week's free bonuses can be downloaded from www.thoughtseat.com.
Welcome to the Thought Seat, guys. We have just a couple people in here. We'll continually recap as people head in. I am Ashley B. Coombe. I'm one of the hosts. Over to, I want to say to my left, but I think when it shows the recording, it'll be to my right, is Scott Jangro. He's the owner and founder of Sharist, a content marketing platform. And then up in the upper corner is Ashley Rader. She is the Thought Seat today. So we changed things a little bit. Instead of subscribing to our personal channels, we put together a Thought Seat channel. So if you want to continue to subscribe to our Thursday Thought Seats, then you can just subscribe to that channel. So you can go ahead and click right above Ashley's head right there.
Right up here.
Where it says the Thought Seat, and you can subscribe there, or we'll tell you, we'll provide some links at the end if you want to subscribe differently. So today we have Justin Rondeau. Is that how you say last name? Justin Rondeau?
That's right.
Okay. I met Justin several years ago at a conference, and my experience with him before I knew who he was at all was spending 5 hours walking around downtown New York City. I guess all of New York City's downtown, but trying to find costumes for a 70s party. So we got to know each other pretty well that day, and we know all about each other's 70s fashion taste. And after getting to know him, I realized that I was talking to somebody who is not only a lot of fun and really funny and a little crazy, but an expert on conversions. So I'm going to ask Justin just to give us maybe a 1-minute description of what he does and what qualifies him to be the expert on this.
Okay, yeah. So I got my start kind of doing this whole conversion rate optimization and split testing stuff when I was back at Which Test One, which gave me a really unique perspective. 1 as a journalist, 2 as a practitioner, and then 3 as a trainer. For both B2B and B2C companies. I got to work with many, many different organizations to help them grow their optimization teams. But I think what was interesting was that I was able to get a bird's eye view of optimization strategies from virtually every industry. I've seen over 3,000 split tests and their strategies behind them. I've run hundreds myself across different organizations. And that's currently kind of what I specialize in right now. So at Digital Marketer, I spend a lot of my time digging through all of our funnels, trying to find opportunity areas within within Google Analytics, and then using other qualitative platforms to really hone in on what can make a difference to our bottom line. So none of that kind of top metric stuff that are just kind of vanity clicks or anything like that. Like really, what's going to make the difference? And I think that's what differentiates the new experts in this field versus the people who have been doing it for quite a while. They're focused on vanity metrics and those types of things, where it really is just about the business. And I still stuck to my training roots a little bit. I did launch a certification at Digital Marketer, all about the stuff that I do in-house there, where I systematize my process and kind of just shared that with people as well. So it's been a lot of fun. Yeah, it's been a lot of
You'll
fun.
Have to put a link to that we can take a look at.
Did I vanish? Oh, she lost Ashley.
I vanished.
Is she the one with all the questions?
Yeah. It just said that I was removed as a co-host. So I was clicking that and I accidentally clicked.
Sorry, maybe I did that. I was trying to make sure you were set up as a host in case I got kicked off. But
okay. So I had the opportunity to see Justin speak at Marketing Profs a few weeks ago. It wasn't a few weeks ago. A couple of months ago. Month and a half ago.
I guess it could be a few weeks. Technically, if you were, that is how we want to break it down. Many weeks.
But I thought it was really interesting because there's so many principles that I just think of as generic conversion principles, like the color of the buttons, or having one call to action, or having the one that sticks out in my mind is having as small of form as possible. And you went through a talk that dispelled some myths about conversions, and it was really interesting to me because you had a lot of things that were different than most people that speak on conversion principles. You were saying, as opposed to just following these basic conversions, figure out what your conversion principles are. So if, don't just necessarily say a smaller form is always the better thing. I think you said, guys, we got to stop that lazy thinking. But you were saying, figure out what your company needs and find the smallest form that still fills those needs. So I thought that was really interesting. So I just wanted you to go over maybe some of the things that you feel are most important in conversion optimization, and then some of those myths that we just kind of all generally accept that you would dispel.
Yeah, totally. So I think when it comes to like landing pages and kind of acquisitions and all type and kind of like lead generation, when you're thinking about optimization, I think one of the first things you brought up was obviously the form. There's really 4 major factors that I look at when I'm evaluating a landing page. One being, the visual hierarchy of the page and the layout. Like, does it make sense? Is there a logical flow? Are there things that are breaking the standard eye flow? And you can use tools like Hotjar, Crazy Egg. If you're using Visual Website Optimizer, they just launched some heat mapping and recording tools as well, which will help you actually be able to see if your layout is actually a logical layout, if it makes sense, and if you have a strong visual hierarchy. And that comes into, like, I think different discussions when people talk about button coloration and those types of things, where yes, button color does matter, but it's not a does this color work better? It's a does this color stand out? Does your call to action stand out? So it's people just being lazy and asking the wrong question. And that's kind of the important thing that I think a lot of people need to begin to understand, is that most of the time optimizers or maybe your clients or your boss even, they're asking the wrong questions of you. And so that's kind of, I think, the first kind of one of those myths that are out there.
So one of the things I want to start with, I'm sorry, I'm going to come back to that question because I want to keep going through those myths. But when we're talking about multiplying our in rate and conversion rate, if someone was saying, I get a lot of traffic to my site, I'm not getting any conversions, what are just those top tier recommendations that you would give right away when you look at someone's site?
1, does your opt-in form work?
That's a good
first
one.
thing. You always start functional, because people are like, oh yeah, it might not look right, but maybe it's not actually. Maybe your form isn't talking to your CRM. We actually had a problem with that. We were running some tests and some campaigns where we're looking, we're like, this didn't work out so well. We're not seeing a lot of leads generated in Infusion. And what happened was our integration between Instapage and Infusionsoft broke. So what looked like a terrible situation for us, like, oh man, we really screwed the pooch on this one. It was really just a functional issue where we didn't have to do any sort of split tests or optimization. It was just fix the darn thing. So that's the first thing I'd do.
Get real basic. What's the best opt-in form?
Yeah. What's the best opt-in form?
Yeah. So do you, I talk to clients all the time that are in different verticals. That's what I'm trying to say. And they'll always say, I hate pop-ups. I hate a pop-up asking for my email address. Is that important or what? Tell me what kind of opt-in form you would recommend.
I have both inline and pop-up, and then with pop-ups, highly segmented. So not just like they hit the page, they get this piece of information that's lazy and will make people angry, and and rightfully so. It is the pop-ups are by their very nature disruptive, and the thing about disruption is it gets attention, right? So if you're getting the right kind of attention, which is if you segment your pop-up to show when it should, then you don't have an angry customer. You're getting the right kind of attention. Whereas if you're just disrupting for attention's sake, that's when you start to run into problems. So, I mean, an inline form, you should always have some kind of inline form on your site, especially if it's I guess pop-ups on landing pages. So I'm talking about site as a whole. If you're looking at a landing page, you don't want to be running traffic to a landing page and then hit them with a pop. That's a mistake. The goal of that landing page is very much front and center. You have your click-through or your opt-in. That's there. You don't want to start mixing the messages. I think when I was training with SAS and I was helping them kind of with their optimization team, they had a lot of paid landing pages that actually had pop-ups with different offers, or do you want to contact support, where they haven't even been really indoctrinated to the bit of information that's there. So
those calls to action should be clear on the landing page without ever having to have a pop-up.
Yeah, you don't need that on paid landing pages. On site stuff, like we use highly segmented pops where if they're going through blog content and they've been on the page for at least 15 seconds and have scrolled at least 25% down, then they get a particular offer based off the URL. So if they're on, a newsletter. Yeah, exactly. So it's do you want these 72 Facebook ad templates? Like you're on a thing talking about Facebook and they get hit with that and they can type in their information right there.
So when you say that it's highly segmented, you have different offers based on what article they've landed on?
Based on the different kind of broad topics. So we'll have a particular offer set for blogging, for Facebook, for just generally social related things. So I generally, we have a question. Are you adding recommending interview user experience with promotions as they scroll? I think this actually worked better for us than doing exit pops. So if people are familiar with exit pops and exit intent pops, so exit intent pops go off of kind of mouse movement. And if they're going towards the X, it's to pop something right up and say, hey, don't go away. Like, take a look at this. And we had a lot of success with those. We started our kind of like our pop fun by doing exit pops through a tool called Optimum. And we used them for quite a while. And I think in 14 days, we saw around 2,872 new leads, which was pretty nice.
And what kind of offer did you put in that exit pop?
Those were all the same type of segmented pops based on the URL. So it was still
before you leave, download these 72.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then what we tried, I read a really compelling article that a friend of mine, Graham English, sent over to me about kind of the problems with exit pops and really the efficacy of them. And so I was like, all right, how about, it actually said, try doing some scroll work. And scroll work, I thought would be a problem, as I think David is saying here, is that people are invested in what they're reading. They're interested. Why break them up from it? Whereas I've seen actually a higher conversion rate and our time on site hasn't dropped.
See, I think that's a really good example of when what you think would happen is not necessarily, like what seems logical does not necessarily mean that that's what's going to work. So it seems like, we probably shouldn't interrupt them, but you've seen based on testing that it has worked better for you. That doesn't mean it's going to work for every industry, but it's worked for you.
Yeah.
So on just the homepage, if people are coming just to the homepage, which I think that you would probably say you don't always want to direct people to your homepage. You want to direct people to specific pages, right?
You rarely want to direct people to your homepage. Your homepage is kind of like what is it? Like it's a you are here map. It's like if you're at a carnival, like you walked in and there's overload. You want to be able. Your homepage has to work in the same way as kind of that directory of you want them to easily get to where they need to go. So it doesn't make sense for when you're running ads or kind of posting or doing any sort of content marketing. Say if you're guest blogging somewhere, to just send them to like Ashley is from X website, and it just hits them with the homepage. That doesn't make sense. It should be a specific article you've written further about that topic that you're writing about, or even a specific offer. Going to your homepage is a step backwards in a lot of cases. They can find that homepage themselves. They're going to go to the top left of your site and they're going to click that logo of yours and they're going to go back to get a better idea. But it's much easier for people to go backwards on things than it is for them to actually get deeper. For people to get deeper, it's going to be it's a lot more work. And as we all talk about, like click attrition, where if they're on your homepage and they're 3 steps away from checkout, that's a hell of a lot worse than it is if they are 1 step away based off of a blog article in there.
I don't think I think about that very often. I think I send people to homepages all the time, and it's really interesting to think about, differentiating what they're coming to my site for and then sending them to a specific page for that.
Yeah, I think actually this was something, not a lot of people think of it that way. I don't think. This is something that's even new for me for thinking about. I didn't start thinking about kind of this splintering methodology until I joined Digital Marketer, and Ryan was teaching me about that. It's every single thing we do and we create, and this is how I look at kind of like optimizing the funnel. We have some type of core offering, and for us, it's our monthly subscription product. But our monthly subscription product is made up of different nodes and different modules. So like it's made up of a specific execution plan that's a checklist. And so with those, you can start seeing how splintering out from our offering, it still is the execution plan itself is an easy upsell or a relevant piece of information to get them to that core offering. And then you start thinking about that further from lead generation, you start splintering out pieces from that core offering, from that execution plan, which we refer to as the tripwire, and take out something that's very specific, very highly valuable. And then people are going to actually opt in for something because there's a high perceived value, a high actual value, and it's easy to consume. That's how you're going to increase lead rates. I mean, you can do a lot of conversion CRO techniques to make sure you're following, logical practices that make sense for you and those types of things. But if your offer stinks, if you're just saying, join my newsletter, guess what? Right. No one wakes up in the morning and says, I want more email today. Nobody says that. So make sure you have a compelling offer.
You just used a lot of terminology. Can you go through and give an example of that?
Yeah. I mean, I tried doing that with our stuff. So we have a monthly subscription product. All right. And so from there, then we call that our core offer. We don't go up to people and just ask them to buy our core offer. There are ways to do it. There's only one way to do it on our site. We don't really do that. We do follow-ups through to our leads as well as our purchases of the next stage. So I'll start from the beginning rather than the end. When you're creating these things, you want to start from the ending. You want to start from core offering and splinter out. That's the best way to do it. But let me kind of draw the map back this way, where if you have like a solid lead generation piece, it should then lead to some sort of sale or webinar after that. So trying to get them to either commit money or time to you. So they've raised their hand and shown you information. If they don't do it immediately, have follow-up sequences that then get them to take that action, and then remarket to them after that with that or direct upsell for that final core offering as it stands. So it's really just a matter of kind of segmenting different bits of your offer, and then trying to kind of bring people through the customer journey from lead to actual, real customer. So rather than, I look at it as lead, one-time buyer, multi-time purchaser, or customer at that point. And so you want to try and bring them through using techniques like that.
So you're saying like your subscription product would appeal to people who are coming to you to learn about social media or SEO, and so you would splinter those out and have.
So say for instance, we had a lead generation piece that's like 5-minute. I'll do it. Like a 5-minute SEO checklist. Like give us your email address, get a checklist, go through it. Then what would happen next is we'd say, now that you have your SEO checklist, there's other things you have to consider after you finish this checklist. And we have a $7 $7 plan that you can buy that kind of brings you through all of that. So then it's really to see who's there for just the free stuff versus who's going to raise their hand to actually be a buyer at some point. So, but it's still relevant to what they signed up for,
you're not sending them stuff about social media at that point.
Yeah, they're not getting it. So if they're doing SEO, we're not sending them things about optimization or really anything. They're purely kind of SEO focused. And then once they raise their hand for that thing and purchase, we do this is a part of a set of digital marketing tools, and you can get this. So that's our pivot there. So that's where we make that transition.
So I think what I'm mostly taking away from this so far is not to send people to your homepage, to splinter out and send people to
be specific
that pertain to the reason they're coming to your site.
Yep. People are coming to your site for a specific reason. They're trying to alleviate some kind of pain point, especially if it's from we're not even really getting into traffic sources and different kind of inspirations for and the intents of traffic sources. Like if people are coming from an organic situation, they're generally looking for a problem to be solved. But likely those people aren't willing to pay right away. Those are kind of the longer term people.
Right.
Whereas people coming from paid channels, they still want something want a question answered and fulfilled, but how it's framed will be your messaging is framed in such a way that's going to turn them into customers much faster, or you can tweak it in such a way that that'll be the case. So yep.
I see that called intent-based funnel optimization. Somebody just typed that in. And I had this conversation with a client this week where, they were saying, okay, if I have a recipe on my blog, and then suggest a product that goes along with that recipe, people are going to buy it. And I was saying, no, because they don't have the intent to purchase something if they're coming to look for the recipe. And I think in a lot of people's minds, they think, yeah, but then they see it and then they want it, so they'll buy it. But there's so much that comes down to the intent of why.
Yeah, there's a nurturing process. And one of the things we do a lot of retargeting. So, I mean, we'll spend good money on ads to send, at least on Facebook. We found out on Google this didn't work. We lost a lot of money on that one. But on Facebook, we did we were doing, our style was to pay for people to get to blog posts, just content. And then we'd pixel people from there and then send them kind of a more direct response style display ad that would follow them. And has been very, very profitable for us. It's been at the time they weren't ready to purchase, but then they get to actually consume the content. Because probably at that time too, if they're asked, they haven't really consumed it. Like for a recipe, I got this sweet recipe, but they don't know if it came out the way they wanted it to yet. They're going to need some time to actually use it and figure out if that's something they want to do. And so that's how we look at a lot of our stuff. And I think when you're in the marketing world, marketing to marketers, it takes a little bit longer, that period of time for them to actually get that intent takes a little bit longer. But when you have things like that, I mean, it's like you can have a great follow-up. If they had to give you an email address for the recipe, you could have a follow-up sequence that's like, hey, how'd you like it?
Yeah.
Turn that into a way to nurture them and get the right intent. And
that follow-up series is a big part of how you would recommend somebody increase their conversion rate.
Yeah, especially if you're looking at if you're running just kind of like a lead gen types, if you're doing pure lead gen, make sure you have a goal in mind for like the leads once you have them, which would be a follow-up series of some kind.
Justin, what would you when you do a retargeting campaign like that? What are you then like? You kind of pique their interest with, let's say, a recipe, and then what is the follow-up? Is that a more content to kind of stoke the relationship, or is that actually more of a, sending them to a webinar or a sales page or that sort of thing?
I mean, you balance it out. For a lot of our stuff, we'll do like depending on price points too, we'll do like 3 to 5 emails that they'll get over a period of time. Some are goodwill campaigns, like where we're just giving them stuff, and then at the end you give them the hook. Whereas other ones we might just go heavy sales on it, just be, oh, hey, we have like you got this report. We have this, or you got this checklist. We have this great report for $7. Normally it's this, like, and then kind of spell it out in more of a direct response style sales letter. We do those a lot in 3 email batches for kind of our lower ticket items to try and get people to raise their hand earlier on, and then get them on the right list for ascending them further at the organization. But it really does. It comes down to just tweaking and trying out. For longer term sales or higher ticket items, you're going to have a longer follow up sequence that's likely going to incorporate other goodwill pieces that kind of show that you're not just a one trick pony.
Holy cow! This all sounds like so much work.
It's a lot. And this is even. Like,
it's a lot of writing.
This is all just proper marketing. I mean, we're not even talking about CRO stuff at all. Like. This is actually, it's funny because it's multiplier opt-in conversion rates was the title. And we just kind of went down the road of like CRO stuff. When you don't have those things in place, CRO isn't for you yet. CRO is for kind of like a top 10% of people. You need to make sure your stuff's dialed in and make sure you're doing things correctly. If you're not, if you have a bad offer or you don't have follow-ups in place or you don't have, like your funnel's working, what's going to end up happening is it's kind of putting lipstick on a pig if you're just doing like, oh, I'll change the button around, or, oh, the landing page needs to change around. Like,
I love that. I love how you worded that it's lipstick on a pig. So you have to make sure those pieces before you even care. Okay.
Yeah. It's exactly. how it is. And I think it's a huge problem, especially with the emergence. I actually kind of take responsibility for the problem, like being the testing evangelist for so long.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, like testing and optimization is great, but like if you don't have anything to optimize because it's garbage, then it's garbage in, garbage out. So have your fundamentals covered, please. Like, don't think that you see all these case studies like, oh, changing this, reducing a form field on, I saw this today. It was reducing a form field for some travel site, increased their bottom line by like $121 million. It's like, well, that's an outlier. Okay. It's not reduction of a form field. It's like, what was the form field? Was it like, we hate your mom? Yes or no? Like, what was the form field? One. Okay. That's clearly an outlier. All right. So the stuff is the thing that's really setting poor expectations for clients, for bosses, and it's making the people who actually are the practitioners go, well, damn, I've been averaging like single digit increases, but they've been able to I can actually monetize that, and it's real. It's not like some false bit of information. There's too much hyperbole, and it's problematic. Off my soapbox.
So once you have that funnel in place, once you have the and Ashley, I think you're taking notes on what he's saying are the essential parts of that funnel. Once you have the awesome offer that you know the form is functioning, you have the follow-up series, you have things splintered out. What are the basic CRO components that you would recommend going through? Yeah.
So once that's built out, I'd have an Excel sheet even, or use something like Heap Analytics, or even set visualization in Google Analytics.
Did you say Heap, HEAP?
Yep.
Okay.
Hotjar will do it too. Hotjar does like everything.
Pod shower?
Hotjar.
It's as weird of a name.
I heard pod shower. I was like, what's a okay?
I want to create a podcast called Pod Shower now.
Pod shower. No blabbing in the shower, Justin.
I'd have to get like a new phone every week or something.
Yeah.
They probably just like bought the rights to it right now.
Yeah.
Come on, Lindsay.
Wait.
I can see Ryan appreciating that.
Maybe. Dibs.
But really,
can you really quick just say what those do above and beyond Google Analytics? Like, so
Heap Analytics will visualize your stuff, and it requires it's less intensive than Google Analytics. Google Analytics has like 1 million different ways to do the same thing, and that in itself, I'm actually working on a certification with our marketing coordinator at DM for analytics, like applied analytics. So rather than doing like the standard going through Google's, just like, this is how you do everything. It's like, this is like the mindset you need, the stuff you need to look at, and then how to actually do it. So kind of getting rid of all the extra stuff that might be overwhelming. And so that's something that's what Heap will do, essentially. Hotjar will do a similar thing. So Hotjar does like heat maps, session recordings, form analysis, and funnel analysis. But that will be only off of like the funnel analysis, I believe, only does a segment of about 5,000 people. So it's not great data if you have a massive website, but still very, very useful. And so when you have that stuff set up, first look for your drop-off points. So don't just start going, because this is the start of my sequence, I should start working here. You find first the opportunity point. So look in GA, Heap, Hotjar, whatever you're using, and look for where you see drop-offs between steps. So when there's a drop-off between the step, there on the page prior to that drop-off, that's where problems lie, where there's an area of opportunity. And making sure that when you're going through these kind of drop-off pages that you're not at the end where it's a thank you page because they should all be leaving, like they're gone, good. Like contextualize those things. But specifically, look for those drop-offs and go, all right, now that we've identified where an area is, then what you want to do is look functional. Is there anything functionally wrong with the site? Is it not showing in the browser correctly? Are mobile users dropping off? Like, what's happening?
So that gets overlooked so often.
Yep. And so you start looking at pure functional. And then if function's fine, then you start looking at kind of your layouts and kind of how the user interacts. And that's where I think there's a lot of cheap tools out there that'll make this really easy. So you're not just like guessing or just going like, oh, Justin said to try this out and it didn't work and I hate him now. Because I don't want that. I just truly want everybody to like me. It's just how I feel.
You just need those vanity metrics
all the time. Yeah, I'm quite vain. But really take a look at, and I've talked about Hotjar already, which will give you this information. Just get more, like, drill down into where your problem areas are. So one of the things you can do is user testing. So go to like usertesting.com or Usability Hub is awesome. So one of the cool tools they have there is, it used to be called 5secondtest.com, which then I think got bought by Usability Hub. And what they do is they show you a page for 5 seconds, take it away, ask you a question. 2 questions you need to ask. Who is this person? What did the 3 questions are? Who's this person? What do they do? And how can you get it? If they can't answer those in 5 seconds of being on your site, you're doing something wrong. So you need to work on your copy immediately.
Wow. Okay.
Copy and imagery.
So with Usability Hub, if I have a website, I can go there and set up like a campaign to show that website to random people.
Yep.
And get feedback on what they perceive my site to be about.
Yep, exactly. Okay. And I think they do a lot. You can pay, and they also have like a karma system. I just think it's fun. Like I'll be really bored on like a Thursday or something. Today's Thursday, so I'll probably end up doing it. There. I'll just go through people's stuff. Like I'll be one of those people that's like, yeah, I have so many karma points now. It's crazy.
Oh my gosh. Now on Thursdays you can come blab surf and show up on our blab.
Just like, there we go.
Yeah,
okay, so I think to answer your question, I do have, and actually one of the things I'm working on right now for kind of my major talking points in 2016 are going to be about like a resurgence of like best practices became best practices because like one, people have been trained to look for these things, and two, like it is logical. Best practices are a starting point. So when you create something, it's totally okay to go, oh, you know what? I should have social proof here, but and you put it on there, but then don't just leave it. Like create a baseline and then come up with a hypothesis and say, maybe that's taking up too much space in a crucial spot. So maybe one thing. So a buddy of mine, Ollie Gardner, who founded Unbounce, he has a really cool bit of information he shares that's about content that's in proximity to your call to action. He goes, whatever we put there, except for a privacy policy, completely tanks conversion rates because there's just more stuff near that primary focus, even if it's social proof, even if it's more bits of information about how long it's going to take for them to do it, like get it done now, or it's totally free. Even those things, they all just tank. So maybe social proof, yes, it's something that you should be using, and it does fit under that best practice guise. And yeah, you saw your baseline, but maybe it might be in the wrong spot on your site and could be causing distraction, like CTA confusion or distractions there. So common practices, I'm all for. Like you know what? If you're launching a site, go for it. There's a reason why there's templates. There's a reason why there's themes out there. But don't get lazy. Like you need to iterate upon these things. So follow those best practices. I have no problem saying that. It really just comes down to being able to turn them into a more customized version for things that convert for you after that.
I
have a question. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I keep coming back to this idea because I'm trying to take everything you're saying and think about my client sites. I probably shouldn't do that on the lab. What? So I'm trying to go through that, and at its most basic level, what you continue to emphasize all these things, but I have a hard time getting clients to try and determine what is your actual goal with the customer. And they're like, well, I hope they come to my site and read this and then click on the ads, and that's how I make money. Or they purchase an affiliate product or something. But it's got to be really defined. What is your goal? Yep. Do you want their email address, or do you a really defined goal?
Yeah. And I think what they need to look at, and every page has 2 types of goals. They have immediate page goal and then campaign goal. I guess there's 3: immediate page goal, campaign goal, and then ultimate business goal.
Okay.
So if you're running, like if you're not just a single kind of campaign type trick pony there, like a one campaign pony, so to say. So every page they should have something in mind of like, all right, on this. So say somebody hits my homepage, I know, I know on my homepage, I want them to ideally I want them to get directed to, there's several areas I want them to get directed to. So I want them to engage somehow, and like top funnel metric, super easy to get people to do that. I want them to engage.
That's your immediate goal.
Yeah, that's my immediate goal, immediate page goal right there. Like kind of the campaign level goal will then dictate from where they're clicking to. So if they're clicking to join now, campaign goal would be, I want them to join DM. Like I want them to do that. And that actually starts to fit in line with business goals. So campaign goal and business goal can actually start collapsing, which is why sometimes I just say like immediate page goal and campaign goal. If they click to a blog post, that campaign then turns into, I want them to sign up for our email list. So they'll take one of, in every blog post, we have 2 offers that's midway and at the end as well, for them to sign up for some kind of report or something that's similar, that it has something to do with the content they're reading, similar to those pops.
And those are inline forms though.
Yeah, those are inline. So actually those are it's a click to landing page actually. So click to landing page for those ones.
So it's halfway through the blog post and then at the end?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so then...
Do you manually manage those? Like when you write a blog post, you're going in and like creating or choosing or creating a new lead gen product to
yeah. So we're fortunate enough to have a lot of these lead gen products that we've created over time from kind of that splintering method that I was talking about. And actually Lindsay's here, she's our managing editor. And yes, we do manually pick those things. She will for whatever content she's hey Lindsay, how's it going? For whatever content she's putting up there.
Grover?
What's that?
I don't know what voice that was. That was
you just were Grover.
I haven't seen
or Ernie. Maybe it was Ernie.
Might have been. I think he and I are more in tune with one another. But yeah, she for whatever piece of content she has that the closest lead gen kind of campaign bit of content that has to do with that bit of content, she puts it in.
Do you guys have a list of suggested lead gen topics?
Actually, Lindsay, what do we have like lead magnet topics? What are some of the ones that we do? I should know this, but
you probably have an opt-in listing all those lead gen things, right?
Yeah. She'll put it in the comments. She said,
subscribe here and you'll get the list.
Dante, no, that's not right.
There we go.
Yeah, so
she's got it right here.
Go right there. Like that's actually one of our lead magnets, one of our lead generation devices is that actual thing.
Is the list.
And so it's the list to get. It's such a meta thing. Like I feel like such a hipster talking about it. It's so meta.
This is why it's so fun if you guys, any of you listening right now, if you ever have the opportunity to go listen to Justin speak at a conference, he's so fun to listen to. He's really funny.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Oh, he does karaoke too. Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's some serious business right there. Gosh, I'll never look like a serious adult ever. with Lindsay there.
What if you don't? So going back to, I keep referencing the same client that does recipes. What if you don't know what kind of lead gen to do? Where can you come up with or lead magnet? So this is like a giveaway that would influence somebody to give you their email address so that they could download this item. If you're in an industry and you're like, I have no idea what people want, then how can you figure that out?
I'd recommend just test, like seeing what your competitors are. I mean, I know a lot of people say your competitors don't know what they're doing either, but in some cases they do, specifically with some of their offers. Okay. So look at what they're offering at the kind of the lead gen level. And then what you need to do is make it 10 times better. Make it something that is better than the alternative that's out there, that's still highly specific and highly valued. So it solves a direct problem or meets a direct need immediately.
Do you have
something?
I I want to add something to that, just kind of because I get this all the time. 10 times better does not mean 10 times longer.
Yes.
I know so many people that are like, well, they have this like free report, so I'm going to write a 47-page ebook on how to do the same thing, and it's like, ooh.
Nobody wants.
I see that a lot. Like somebody will give away, top 10 tools for conversion optimization, and so somebody then creates one that's top 360 tools for internet marketing. I'm like, I don't want to use 360 tools.
It's like, ain't nobody got time for
terrible.
that.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it really comes down to it needs to be highly specific and high perceived and actual value. So I know that, and then Dante has right there, solves a simple problem or meets a simple need.
So how do you figure out what the problems are that they want solved?
Well, you should kind of have that idea based off of your company. I think what does this client do in particular? So they do recipes, or is it just like a recipe blog?
A recipe blog.
And do they sell anything, or is it just affiliate?
Affiliate and ads is their monetization.
So this is the first problem right there. Sorry to interrupt, but I think before you even can think about what the giveaway is, or the magnet that you call it, is what are we even trying to do here?
Yeah. What's the goal?
Yep.
And capture an email address, I think, is the obvious thing for those of us who realize that you should be capturing emails, not just sending people away. Because if you're doing that, you're just borrowing Google's traffic and, giving it away again. And at least capture an email or try to turn someone into your own customer on the way through. And I think getting people to that realization is huge.
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually an opt-in email form, right? So if you're going to do that, then you got to actually have an email sequence or something that, something to send to them. And maybe it's, and you can send them the giveaway, but then what are you going to do with them after that? Right.
Right.
I
think that's where a lot of people get lost.
Like weekly update your blog posts, or maybe it's an email sequence or something about a certain type of cooking in your case or whatever. I think that's a huge thing to figure out first, and not easy.
Well, and because Ashley and I work so much with bloggers, that's our primary audience. I'm doing affiliate coaching with bloggers, and Ashley works with a lot of bloggers that are just starting out. And it's really hard to identify what is the purpose. What do I want my audience to do? If you're a blogger, you're like, well, I want them to read my blog.
Yeah.
So,
one thing I'd say you should do, look at some of the most popular content that they had. What spoke the most to them, and then actually, do you know what? Just repurpose it as a lead generation device.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Because you're so close to your content, you're duping right there. But if it's a PDF, you're not going to get hit. Like as a PDF download, you're not going to get hit for dupe content. Right. So there's no SEO problems there. And also, no one is as close to your content as you. And they really won't get all that upset if they gave their email address away. If they're paying for it, then I could see them getting mad.
Right.
But they do that. We do that all the time.
That's a great, I've never thought about that. That's a really great idea where you could even combine 3 of your most popular blog posts into a PDF and make that the download.
Or you could even take those, like if you have a particular, say you have a sequence that you really like a best of sequence, you can turn that into an email sequence too. So it's not all, like if you're doing a goodwill campaign, you can turn that into kind of a goodwill campaign based off of content based.
So would you then take it off the blog or still leave it up there? No, because
or you can just link to the blog. Yeah, you just link it.
Link to it.
That could be
once you post something on a blog, it falls off the bottom and disappears unless someone finds it with a Google search, right? So it's
exactly
that's
or
all.
If they're digging in your archives.
As Lindsay said in the comments, she actually just posted a link where we did just that with the blog post ideas. That actually turned into one of our most successful lead generation campaigns because it was one of our the highest trafficked bit of content we had. And we're like, well, okay, let's purpose this and send some ads to it. Like, let's go nuts.
So I feel like what you just said is probably the most easily used takeaway so far that I'm going to go back and do on the sites that I work with.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have that link. Ashley, when we do the replays, the comments don't show up, right? So we need to grab those.
The comments do show up.
Okay.
If they are watching the replay in Blab, the downloaded version of the video that goes to YouTube does not have the comments unless they've kind of been tweaking like how the download works. like the first couple weeks, nothing had the comments, and then they're making it better. So the most recent one may actually have had it. But yeah, the comments will be there. I've also noticed if we get a lot of comments, like in the last one that went like over 2 hours, like not all the comments were there. So I'm trying to write down as much here too. So we'll have on the replay, I'll put up a PDF with some of the like best tips and everything.
Yeah, Ashley does a really cool like checklist afterwards of the
great
and stuff.
I want to carry this thought through to one more level though, because so yeah, you get this best of 5 post series or whatever that you're going to follow up with, but you still need something at the end.
Yes.
You need a call to action. You need something that this person's going to do at the end.
They can't be just read more.
With these bloggers, they probably don't have something, right?
Yeah.
And what do you end up with at the end? Yeah, you've done a goodwill thing, and you've got some happy person who's read 5 emails. Hopefully, they've read all 5. They probably only read 3. And what happens at the end? And that's the call to action. That's the thing. And for these bloggers, what is it? And maybe it's a product, or is it an ad, or is it I don't know what most bloggers do there, but I think that's a really important thing to consider. It
is, Scott. It's absolutely crucial. And I think bloggers have a hard time with this. And I think people who are even further behind bloggers on this are podcasters. They're just as bad with it, where they're creating media for media's sake. What media should be doing is sending people to some type of offer of some kind. And you need to be able to create that. So you need to have, like, it goes back to me talking about page level goals and campaign level goals and then business level goals. All right. What the bloggers are generally missing, where they're just like, I want people to read. And they all don't talk like that. Just the people I talk to all talk like that.
Yeah. That's the Muppet bloggers.
I talk to a lot of Muppets.
Wait, what was the middle one? You said page level,
campaign level,
and site,
and actually just business goals. So page goals, campaign goals,
side comments.
Oh gosh,
the LinkedIn gallery. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's. I live with this.
Well, I don't know if you noticed earlier, but Coffee Nate Smith was talking about different songs you guys have sung together in karaoke.
Oh, we've sung a lot. We've sung some good ones.
So actually, if you're bloggers, they need a product at the end. And if it's, I think pushing a product on them, an affiliate link or something, is probably not going to do well. But, you get this 5 post thing, and maybe they've got another 5 posts or 10 posts, or expanding on it, make an ebook out of it and sell it, or something like that. I mean, they want to make money, right?
For recipes, it turns into a cookbook or something. Or
right.
You're doing affiliate stuff, like if you're working with any an affiliate offer can work. Like if you don't have an offer, I'd rather push them to an affiliate offer than nothing. So they're there.
I was trying
you can. Yep. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was trying to think like, if they were talking about vegan cooking, then or cooking for people with high allergies, then they could push them to a product that was relevant, like copper pans or something that don't have Teflon, and so they're good for allergy people. So I was trying to think through, okay, what kind of product would go with that, with certain series. But I think you're right. I don't know. There's a lot of thoughts. I think we should open up, if anybody else has questions like that for a specific industry as well. Scott, do you want to give like a rundown of what we've talked about so far for people hopping in?
I've been watching. I don't think people have been hopping in and out in this case. So I don't think we need to recap totally. But yeah, we're talking about conversions and funnels and optimizing conversion rates. But we also talked about optimizing is worthless if you haven't already dialed in your funnel and just got a really good landing page and process nailed down, and then you can start to optimize it. So make sure you're not putting lipstick on a pig before you start optimizing and changing button colors. So
I feel like this major paradigm shift, though, because it's so easy to think, okay, I have to make sure that certain things are above the fold and people in my pictures are looking at my offer, and that my call to action is a certain color. And it's really easy to ignore. Okay, what does that all mean if it's not going anywhere?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a realization. I don't want to say the paradigm shift buzzword, but I've kind of had a realization.
It pivoted.
A little pivot.
pivot?
With Sharist, we're a paid service with a free trial, and there's that obvious conversion we have. We want people to sign up for the free trial, but I can test that and try to get more people to sign up for that. But is there another funnel, or is there a different angle that we can do with, a goodwill campaign or something like that, and come up with some content like that, and just get email addresses and not try to get people to sign up for a service to try? Then I think there's other funnels even, right? That you can try and set up different types of campaigns that are going to get people who don't necessarily want to do a trial of a service or a software, but just start to collect emails.
They might be interested in some content that you offer. I think with Sharist specifically, what Justin's been talking about with splintering, people come to Sharist for some very different reasons. Some people are coming for social media scheduling, and some people are coming for the publishing aspect. Some people are coming because they work with a big team and they want to organize their clients and collaborate. So even just having landing pages and content that go with each of those different personas.
Shopify did some really interesting stuff where they just did a trial cart of just creating a Facebook store, which was just one part of their product. But for free, go nuts, create a Facebook store. That's easy for people. Like, I'm on Facebook, I would like to create a store. And they do it, but then they see when they're using it that it's part of a suite, and then the upsell just makes sense.
That's absolutely really good with that too, where they have like a free portion of each one of their products. But then once you get into that free portion, you can see all the upgrades, and you're like, oh, I really need that. And so you end up buying it.
Well, that's what we do with like our content. So if people just buy like one execution plan from us, they go into our full like DM Lab library, and everything else is grayed out. Like, it's like I have this one thing, and they can see the titles of everything else and the other bits there. But it's that same kind of method that they do it, but just not at a technology level, like we're doing it at a education level or a content level.
I read a really interesting blog post recently about, and I can't think of who put it out. Somebody had run a bunch of tests on content-based lead gens and creating tools. So like creating a little tool on your site that will, like for SEO companies, so it'll analyze your, do a quick analysis of your page, or, like for Sharist, you could do like, I don't know, some little tool to analyze like how much content you're currently sharing and how much you could improve by sharing more, whatever it might be. And it was like, I don't even remember the stats, but crazy numbers of people were, it was a huge boost to have these free tools rather than, people opting in for a sort. And even for like the blogging community, there's, you can say like for recipes, like, oh, well, there's nothing, but maybe you could have like, create a little widget that would pull a recipe from, some website and like, save it into like a notepad file for you, or, like little just kind of tooltip thing, or not tooltips, but it was kind of interesting reading. I'll have to find the link and see if I can post it in there. I
really wish I could have seen data on, so HubSpot did something like this where they had their, I'm pretty sure they still have it, like their marketing diagnosis. Like it's like you just put your website in and it tells you like how your marketing efforts are, and it scores you. So it's not necessarily like a tech, but it does a score based on like, oh, we see you have a blog, but you haven't updated it in 3 months, so you stink. It's going to do things like that, which I think, and they would do the kind of the rub at the end of like, oh, do you want to see your results? Give us your email address, or like fill this information out. And so it was probably one of their marketing qualified leads, not at sales qualified, so probably mid-level. But still, it worked. I think it must have worked really well for them, because they ended up.
Wait,
what happened?
Talk about what you just said. So you differentiate how you look at leads. Say that.
Oh yeah. So I mean, most companies do this. I think mostly larger companies when they have a sales force, but having kind of the marketing qualified leads, so the people that should be getting your marketing but shouldn't be getting sales letters or sales stuff. And then what you're trying to do is ascend marketing qualified leads into sales qualified leads. So you'll see like different HubSpot offers will have different form lengths for some of their bigger stuff, it's like the longest form in the world. Like you're going to give them your firstborn child.
I did, by the way.
But they get that they get that information, and then what they do is that goes to their sales team. Whereas marketing qualified leads, like I know from talking to people that worked at HubSpot, like people on lead generation, top funnel stuff, they're going to be doing their main metric will likely be MQLs. Will be those marketing qualified leads. How many can they bring in? How do they ascend kind of like those lowest, like the lowest of the low of leads that are like email and names? How do they ascend them up? And in most cases, I think HubSpot got rid of just straight email. Like it's all like you need to have like business size and title. So I think like it's straight MQLs at this point. But like there's and that's how, I mean, when they're looking at success rates in large organizations, what you're going to end up having is like your sales team has a percentage close rate. Like it's an expected close rate that they need to hit. So when you start seeing, we have 500 sales qualified leads coming in this week, and you'll be like, all right, well, 10% of those are going to close. So then 50 people will be closed. It's like, and we need to have like X amount more by the end of the month. Then it just kind of goes up the funnel of, okay, we need this many more MQLs to turn into SQLs to then get closed. So then you can start actually doing some more predictive work and setting your goals for the week, month, quarter, etc. So that's getting like kind of a lot higher level.
Yeah, it is.
But that's how a lot of organizations
think about, because if even if it's a blogger that's bringing in email addresses, it's really important to begin to think about the different goals for the different places people are signing up.
We do something. We don't go like SQL, MQL. Like we don't go that level at DM. What we do is we have like different understandings of people on series. So we have like, there's someone like anybody who's brand new will be on 2 different email series. One will be an indoctrination series where we tell them who we are, what to expect, etc. And then the other will be getting their deliverable as well as the associated email series with that. So actually, when someone joins our email list, they're getting a good amount of email, and don't be. I think a lot of people are scared to send emails. Like I was doing training in Australia. Like that won't fly here. I was like, yes, it will. Right?
Sending the emails.
Yeah, like it will fly. Don't worry. If you're not sending emails, you hate money. Which is
I hear so many people say, yeah, if a company is going to send me more than 1 email a week, I automatically delete them. And I keep thinking, okay, but if you're sending value in your emails, if it's actually valuable to your user, they're not going to delete you. I don't
read every email Bonova sends me, but they send me 1 a day.
Yeah, and a lot of times
I don't mark it as spam. I don't mark it as spam. I eventually buy. That's how I'm on their list. So what we do is we have like kind of indoctrination, then we have people that are kind of just at the engagement level. So we're like, all right, like we've segmented you a bit, and now we're wanting to turn you into a buyer, which is then we look at ascension level to see if we can get them to buy other products. And then based on how they react there, they get pushed to a different kind of like style list. So we segment our email lists, and we think everybody should be doing that. So don't go the crazy route of like getting into like just like big business jargon of like SQLs and MQLs. Like really, you're right, Ashley. It's just like look at people differently. Like take a look at how they, and because people like where people are at when they sign up, like a person that's at the lead level that hasn't bought a thing from you yet is not going to be going after that core offer of yours, or even some of your profit maximizing stuff. Like if you're a consultant, like a consultant layout would be kind of the core offering might be just like, a course of some kind. And then on the back end of that course, it's like, oh, by the way, I also can do this for you. Right. So
we use at Sherris, we use Intercom to do that. And we segment out the active users and the users that we haven't seen for a month, and people that are just coming off the free trial versus new users. So we have those segmented out, and they receive very different email follow-ups based on that segment. And again, like everything we're saying, it's a lot of work to set up, but it's really valuable.
If it wasn't hard to do and a lot of work, everyone would be doing it.
Everybody would be doing it. Yeah.
That's really
I want to open up and ask if anybody has any questions. We'll probably go for about 10 more minutes and then let Justin hop off of here. But if anybody has any questions that they'd like to jump into the blab and ask, then I can jump off and let somebody else join. So if you are interested in joining, just comment here. You can ask Justin maybe about your specific industry or your specific site, or any questions you have.
Yeah,
Well,
even CRO questions, because I know like we kind of talked about this about like opt-ins and conversion rates and kind of went off the deep end when I think we talked about things that are more important than that.
Yeah,
but
I
if you
do
do
too.
have questions regarding that type of stuff, I'm more than willing to answer that.
I have a
I'll
question
actually
about
empty my seat. I'll empty my seat and anyone can jump in.
Okay.
I'll
I want to
still
make
be watching.
sure. I want to make sure we answered David Kutcher's question. Are you advocating or recommending interrupting the user experience? I think the way you answered that was to test it, to test which works for. So try it and test it.
The different interrupting like I was talking about between disruptive being by its very nature, by something disruptive is going to get views and those types of things. So you are like any sort of disruptive tactic will get acknowledgement. It's just a matter of if that disruptive attack, if the disruption is offensive or not.
And if it's providing a huge amount of value, then
Yeah.
it's not as offensive. Okay. Ashley, what was your question?
Going back to like actually optimizing, let's say you get your whole funnel squared away, like this whole mindset thing that we're talking about, which I agree is like the biggest issue for most people right now. It's like they think they need to get to the conversion part, and it's all of the other pieces are not in place yet. But let's say you're there, you have a website, your funnel's all squared away, your follow-ups are there, you've got a good call to action. Is there a tool? So one of my issues when I've looked at optimizing my conversions over the years and kind of like a barrier to entry is you look at like a landing page or you look at a sales page and there's so many components of that page. Like, how do you know, is there a tool that you use for, I don't even know if it would be a tool, but like, where do you even start as far as like, you mentioned, okay, having like testimonials right next to your call to action button that Ollie Gardner, I think you said was, had found that anything closer to the button for him led to lower conversions. But, it's like, I look at a huge landing page and I'm like, okay, well, I could test removing this. I could test switching that around. Like, what is your thought process, or is there a good approach as to how to even like start with it? Because there are so many elements on a page. Like how I guess you can use like go into maybe some of the heat map stuff, or like a best process for like how you would look at things to remove things to test, and maybe not testing everything at once, because I think also something
that's just a murky you don't know what's a conversion depressor or conversion lifter if you're doing that, unless you're running multivariate tests, which I doubt people are. But really what it is, and it comes down to using those qualitative tools, I think are important. But another piece you can do is look at the continuity between the previous like ad or previous page and that page they're hitting at, to make sure that you're hitting the right, you have the right messaging that they're expecting. So expectations might not just be met. So that could be something. If you have an ad, make sure, like I use this example every year, and it is always the same. Like, and I always update it. I just go into Google, I type iPhone, I go to the first 3 ads, and I look at their landing pages. And Sprint is the worst, because they send you to a landing page. It's like, hey, tell us your zip code. And then
you're like, I just want to know about an iPhone.
Yeah, you're like, I just want to know what's up. And then they after you give them that, they end up not even talking about the iPhone yet. And just set the right expectations. There might be a break between there, which is one thing. But if you're looking at just kind of on-page stuff, anybody that tells you like, oh, change this, and I hate landing page critiques that don't have proper information. There, because a lot of people are like, oh, just change that logo, or move the stuff around. I generally don't like those, because they don't know how people are interacting with the site. So these usability tools that are out there, that's like Hotjar or Usability Hub, they will show you a glaring error. I mean, unless it comes down to something that's like your call to action matches your background color or something where they can't see it. what like those tools will show you. When it's not that much of a, just a mistake, then it's going to take a little bit more digging from the qualitative side, because your numbers will tell you where to start, and then kind of these other things will tell you what to do. Because optimization is very much, very, very, very much about your current situation.
I think that one of the things that I found really useful for just getting started is both heat maps, and then I can't remember which tool it is, but in AppSumo they have one that shows you how many times people have clicked on different elements on your site.
Yeah, most heat maps have that in there as well. They'll just have click the click tracking, counts. Click reporting. Yeah.
So this click reporting will show you, if you have that on your site, then you can see, oh, that's not even a clickable button, but people are clicking on it over and over.
I have a perfect example of this. We did this at DM. So on our homepage, and this is below the fold, like way below the fold, we had an example of kind of our execution plan library. On those images, we just kept the same like click to read, like it says in our library. It's just a screenshot of it. But everybody was clicking that image on those spots, thinking they could get it right there. But that image wasn't clickable. It brought them nowhere.
And so the first thing to change.
First thing we did is, and this is an obvious thing, and the reason I wanted to test it so I could monitor conversion rates. Because obviously if you add a link to something, it's going to get more clicks because just by the fact that they're clicking there. And so I just turned it into sent them to our sales letter for DM Lab. We ended up increasing DM Lab sales by about 40%.
Oh, just because you realized what people were clicking.
Just because like, oh, hey, yeah, people are clicking here. This is what they want. We just met expectations. Conversion rate optimization is really kind of like, it's really more
figuring out what the expectations are and meeting.
Yeah, exactly. It goes back down to user experience. So it's are we providing them the most logical and useful and easy way to navigate the site to meet their needs? Are we able to do that?
That's what I think I would start with. If you're looking at all these elements, look, is anybody clicking something that is not clickable? And is anybody not clicking things that are clickable? Then test, how can I make it appear more clickable? Like a lot of times, if you have a button and it's just the outline of the button and then
the ghost buttons, those
the
are the
ghost
worst.
button, people don't realize it's a button, and so
no, they don't.
They don't click on it. So then testing a different look for that.
Those are cool as a visual hierarchy perspective. Like say you have a ghost button next to it, like say that's your secondary call to action, like a learn more, and there's a buy now. If the buy now is a solid button directly next to that, the buy now will have like that, it'll get more of the eyes, but it also contextualizes the ghost button to get them to that secondary call to action for people in that user persona that's like, I need to research everything. That's what that will do. So I hate ghost buttons when used incorrectly, but they can be used well, and they look cool. Like stylistically, like I can see why designers wanted to use them. Yeah. But it's a matter of making them work for you and not just assuming people know what they are and what they do.
This has been a big struggle for me because a lot of times I'll work with designers who are helping design my client's site. And I wish so badly every designer understood the really basic conversion principles, because they, they're so focused on the look of something and the beauty and all of that. But really, the whole purpose of having a website is to typically make more money. And so it's such a struggle for me because I'm like, I know that looks pretty, but based on
what's pretty
factors,
doesn't always convert. What's pretty doesn't always convert. I saw like I every now and then I'll dive into like, oh, what are designers doing these days? And I dig into like, top design trends, and I was like, this cannot be like parallax design and those things. I'm like, I'm getting motion sickness from here that I don't know what to do.
I don't know what they expect of me or what they want me to accomplish. So I feel like there's a big niche open there for conversion-based designers. If I could find a designer that really knew conversion topics well, I would hold on to them tightly.
Yes, indeed.
I think nobody's jumping in to ask questions. I had one more question for you, and I feel like it's kind of obscure. But see if you can answer this. So one of the questions that I've seen come up a lot. Scott's coming back in.
Hey, Scott. I'm just going to come back in to say bye.
When I look at people that are coming to Affiliate Summit for the first time, one of the biggest struggles that they're having is they say, I get a lot of clicks on affiliate products, but then nobody converts. I know it's hard to answer that or give a piece of advice on that because you don't have any more information, but what if you could give a really generic piece of advice, what piece of advice would you give to people who are getting lots of clicks on their affiliate links but no conversions?
I mean, quite honestly, they're probably just optimizing for clicks. They're not thinking about the next step. So they're probably doing everything they can to get people to click there. And it might be just the consistency between the two might be off, where they might be saying something where it's not necessarily reiterated correctly, or something they think's awesome that might be like lower on the sales page for that might not be immediately valuable for them or immediately seen, which could cause a problem. So I think when you have like affiliates that are looking at, all right, I'm trying to get as many clicks as I can on this. It's like, well, are you priming these clicks for the next experience?
So maybe looking at matching your language to the page that it goes to?
Language, fonts, looks, everything you can. Everything you can to do that. Yeah, and Nate made a good point. Assuming the merchant has an
cynical, Nate.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Scott?
Yeah, I said, don't be so cynical, Nate.
Yeah.
But
no, I mean, actually, I was going to suggest even talking to the merchant. I mean, and if you've got a million affiliate links and a million merchants that you're working with, you obviously can't do that. But if you're focusing on something, have a conversation and talk to them about, any advice that they can give on prepping that click for the sale. On the other end, it's pre-selling or priming, like Justin said, and yeah, I mean, there's the game of just getting as many clicks as you can, as an affiliate, or but if you can focus on some things and really kind of pre-sell them, and maybe it's the wrong product for the page that you're on, that it's on, thinking about those things too, but. Yeah, you can get a lot from affiliate managers. They're willing to give you a lot of information on that.
Yeah, as a previous affiliate manager in my time, yes, you can. You can get a lot from them. I think
this would be a really interesting blog post. Like, if your affiliate offers are not converting, try these 10 things, and you'll see more conversions. Or so I'd be interested if maybe I'll write that blog post and ask for all of you guys' advice.
Yeah. That'd be cool to see and contribute to. But yeah, I think it comes back down to kind of clickbait and that type of stuff. Like and have you ever seen those, like the perfect headline formula and those things, like 5X that does Y with, and you'll love it. You'll have to check number 3 though. It's
your job.
You won't believe.
You won't believe. Like gyms hate him because he's got to. No, it's you just have to definitely prime those things up and not just focus on the click, unless you're in kind of the click game. Like I don't know, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that one. And Lindsay would read that post too. There you go.
Yeah, Nate had a good point. Nate had a good point here too, to make sure you're deep linking, you're sending to a page that's relevant to the offer, not like to the homepage or.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
So if you're talking about
the homepage earlier.
Yeah.
I don't think, not every affiliate offers it, but a lot of people don't realize that in affiliate management portals, like depending on what you're using, you can actually go in and specify a specific landing page. I don't think a lot of not all affiliates know that. You kind of look through whatever the available landing pages are, and you just pick one. But typically, you can also go in and enter in a specific URL that you want that affiliate link to redirect to. So,
Cool.
Kind of affiliate 101, I guess.
Yeah, I'll work on putting that blog post together.
Nice.
Well,
there you
go. If nobody else has any questions, then I will start to wrap this up. And Ashley, I'm going to let you either Scott or Ashley talk for a second, but Justin, thank you so much for being on here. And if you, Ashley, do you want to add the link to the blab so that if people want to subscribe?
Yes.
So on the Thought Seat, our purpose is we have the 3 of us, Scott, Ashley, and we have a different expert each week, or somebody who has questions that we may be able to answer, and they come and sit in, it's kind of a play on the hot seat. They come sit in the thought seat and share their thoughts. So if you are interested in being on the thought seat because you have questions about your specific site, or you feel like you're an expert on something, which we're big on the fact that every single person we talk to is an expert on something. If you're interested in being in the thought seat, then we'd love to hear from you. And you can click those links to subscribe and to see replays of our previous last week, or not last week, but the one we did before Thanksgiving. We had the founder of Drunk Mall, and he was talking about how to aid your site in becoming a viral sensation, or how to handle it once it does. And we've had a couple other good ones. I think that in the upcoming weeks, we'll have somebody speaking on Snapchat for business and a couple other topics like that. So check out, subscribe, go look at our replays. Justin, I wish you would have been here for the Drunk Mall. Were you for a little while?
No, I wasn't here for that one. No,
He was.
He was very interesting. We talked a lot about the interesting products on his website. So I'm going to hand it over to either Scott or Ashley, and you guys can wrap us up.
Justin, do you want to, post or mention any other ways that people can follow you, follow your product services?
I mean, just check out digitalmarketer.com. Our blog is fantastic. Actually, Russ Henneberry just showed up.
You're sending people to your homepage?
Yes, because I want them. My goal is to segment them through to different things.
So to see what they click on once they've gone to your homepage.
I need to see where they go once they get there. And they can check us out.
I might actually try. Have you ever tested out putting a "You Are Here" map, like an actual map, on your homepage?
that might be a little
like just
too
a
clever.
visual.
That might be a little too clever.
Yeah, that's true.
Clever doesn't always convert.
No.
I will quote you on that.
please
Clever doesn't
do.
convert.
As a non-clever man.
Clever does not convert.
Not always.
Says the non-clever. Yeah.
But yeah, check out our blog. You can see the digital MKTR on Twitter. We're ramping that thing up, where we'll be posting a lot of different stuff, including our content as well, and stuff we think that's interesting. I think in some of the comments as well, I think Lindsay posted the link to the certification I was talking about, specifically about optimization. And a lot of the stuff I talked about today is the stuff that I actually cover more in depth, because we had a lot of kind of high level stuff that we had to cover there. And we definitely didn't have enough time to cover it. I think it's about like 7.5 hours or so of just me. So if you don't like me, I'm sorry.
I might get
Is that this link that she just posted, the conversion rate optimization mastery? Okay.
I might get it just for that reason, to watch Justin for 7 hours.
For 7 hours.
Something. Like, let's be serious.
I'm just going to drive stalking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just hang out. But yeah, that's kind of the whole shtick right there. And then also I have an analytics one will be coming out shortly too. And
analytics what?
An analytics cert as well. But actually, Lindsay, can you post the CDMP thing? Sorry if I'm just posting offers, but it's stuff that I think people will really be interested in.
It's awesome. I think it's really helpful.
We're actually launching a 10-week live course, so it'll cover all of our
10 weeks
certifications.
Of Justin.
Not just me. No, God. I would feel miserable for those people. It'll be like Ryan Dice, Richard Lindner, Russ Henneberry, myself, John Grimshaw, Molly Pittman. Will be doing a course each week. So it's like a super like high octane, just covering all of our different certification courses with kind of a lot of it's a big commitment, a lot of work that'll be have to do on your end, and we actually have a final project at the end. So we're launching that next year. And so that's outside.
It's like college.
Oh yeah, it's accelerated learning. All right, we got this. Your mom went to college.
But if you do want all Justin all the time, you can go over to Pod Shower and live stream.
Pod Shower will be my next project after I create my bagel sandwich site, reviewing bagel sandwiches. Like that's my other life.
Oh, that's your other project. Okay.
All right, great. No, thanks for letting me post all that stuff. I know I felt like I was
problem.
Oh yeah, and if you are watching this, a recording of this, then we'll have a PDF where you can find all those links and some of the tips that Justin went through. So
yeah, I'm gonna put together a PDF with kind of like the show notes, just like all the hot topics. You should still everyone watch the replay if you joined in late or whatever, but. I may have to touch base with you, make sure I have the URLs correct on some of those, like the hot job or
hot job.
Hot shot.
Hot job.
Hot shower.
Hot job.
Hot shower.
Don't Google hot job.
But I will post the anyone that is subscribed to our email alerts is going to get a copy of that. So if you don't already do that, if you don't receive our emails, go to thoughtseat.com/live. I'll post it right here as well. Okay. And I will email everybody that's on that list a copy of the show notes, the PDF, all of that good stuff. So check that out. And anything else?
I don't think so.
Thanks so much, Justin.
All good?
Justin. All right. Bye,
Thanks,
guys.
Justin.
All right, take it easy.
You've just experienced the Thought Seat Podcast. Thanks for listening. For show notes in this week's free bonus, check out our website at www.thoughtseat.com. Join us to ask questions and catch our live weekly broadcast every Thursday at 2:30 p.m. Central Standard Time at thoughtseat.com/live.